I am pro-choice. I used to be pro-life, but I am pro-choice economically. If a woman cannot afford it, this is my main reason. All right, if she cannot afford to raise a child, deliver a child, raise a child, take care of it all the way up till it's 18, and I'm talking medical expenses too. Okay, then there's no reason why she can't have an abortion. There's no reason why she shouldn't have that option. And if the church does not support universal health care or Medicare for all, what business does the church have getting involved if they're not going to help, even by, say, voting for these options or voting to fund a child? It takes a village to raise a child. Am I wrong?
It takes parents to raise a child, John. And of course, parents have to work. They have to interact with other people in society. But I would say that you and I can agree that parents have moral duties towards their children. And so sometimes parents need help to carry out those duties. Like if a father wants to provide for his children, he has to go out into the village and get a job and work. It's hard to just do it on your own. But I think that while parents do need help from the community to raise their children, we can expect mothers and fathers to not kill their children. They don't need our help to not kill their children. They just shouldn't kill their children. Does that sound fair?
Oh, it would be fair. It would be fair if we lived in a fair society, a fair world, if people actually cared, if Catholics could get out and vote and say, we want babies to survive, we want them to live, so we're going to provide health care for children all the way up till they're 18 or whatever. That would sound decent, but I still am not going to agree with you because It is a woman's choice.
Well, John, let me ask you this. Question. Let's say a woman loses her job and she has a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old, loses her health care benefits, loses her job. And she's having trouble caring for this 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and 6-year-old. And the 2-year-old's just frankly getting on her nerves. Should she be allowed to kill her 2-year-old? Because you know what? We don't have health care, Medicare for all. So should she be allowed to kill a 2-year-old that she can't care for?
No. And I see where you're going with this. But should the Pope get up and say, Catholics, we need to do something about this. Let's vote for universal health care. Let's vote for Medicare for all. Let's take care of society. Let's see the abortion rate drop.
I think he does, actually.
John,
I think the Pope we have now does that.
He probably, no. John, my question is, so we agree it should be illegal to kill a 2-year-old?
I see where you're going with this.
Well, it's a yes or no question.
I'm not all about. There's no. Look, if the child or the fetus is connected to the woman's body, it is up to her. Okay, it's up to her. It's her choice.
So then, John, let me ask you this question. Let's say, because you're talking about economics to justify this. Let's say a woman is super wealthy, like Kim Kardashian or something. She's got millions of dollars. Can easily take care of a child. She's got millions of dollars. Should she be allowed to have an abortion if she wants one?
I would imagine it's still her choice. It's still her choice.
So the whole Medicare for all thing, that's just a red herring. That's just to distract from the issue. You think abortion should be legal for any reason whatsoever.
Is you look at the reality of the situation, what rich woman wouldn't want to keep her child? Okay, there's a lot of poor women out there, single, young women.
Maybe they don't want any more children. They don't want any more children. So let me ask you this to make sure we get your position right. Is there any kind of abortion you think should be illegal?
Look, if someone goes up and assaults a pregnant woman with a baseball bat and she has a miscarriage, I don't know. You want to call that abortion? We can call that abortion. I guess that should be illegal. That's not really her choice, is it?
Okay, so if someone kills a wanted baby, that's murder. But if it's an unwanted baby, it's okay. So your position is whether it's wrong to kill someone depends on whether they're wanted by others.
I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. You're kind of going into a gray area here. There are no unwanted babies. I wouldn't call them unwanted. Every child is wanted, but the reality is you got to face economic choices in today's world. And if this is what I'm trying to tell you, if Catholics really want the abortion rate to drop, you get out and you vote for something along those lines, health care for children all the way up to 18.
John, let me ask you a question. Do you want abortion rates to drop?
At this point, I'm so frustrated with the Catholic Church and everything that you guys preach and your hypocrisy that I could really care less. But I thought I would just voice my opinion on your radio show today. So thank you for
No,
me
John, don't hang up. I
Have
just
a
have
good
one.
day.
No, John, please. Okay.
No, he's still there. He didn't go.
Okay, John, why are you so mad at the church?
Mad at the church? I think I said disappointed.
Okay,
disappointed in the church.
What are you disappointed with?
Do I really need to go into this? Do you really want me to go into this on your show? I think we could have just called it good right where I was at. I mean, there are plenty of reasons why people should be mad or disappointed or whatever with the church. Whatever you want, however you want to phrase it.
John, I don't want disappointment and anger to weigh your heart down. You seem like a good person. I don't, and you know what? I guess we do have to go to a break here soon. But here's the thing: it's okay for you to feel angry about things, and it's okay to feel frustrated about injustices. And I would encourage you to seek out what's good. I would tell you abortion is not good. We shouldn't seek that as a solution to anything. But I and everyone else here at Catholic Answers and the people who are listening, thousands of people, I'll ask them right now to pray for you. Please pray for John and Lincoln. His heart is, he seems there's disappointment in there towards the church. I'll tell you what, John, I'm disappointed at the church right now. I'm disappointed by a lot of things. I'm disappointed by clerics. It seemed like it's a day job they're punching into. I'm disappointed by bishops, some bishops who are total cowards, and I feel like they need to step up. It disappoints me and it makes me angry. But I will tell you this, John, I miss receiving Jesus on that altar. Now, I'm not leaving until I get to receive him again. Because he's God and he made this church and he made you and me for eternal life. And so I might be mad, but I'm never going to let that anger keep me away from Jesus. And I'm not going to let it keep me away from his church, even when there are people in the church that make me mad. Because if I was objective, I would see I am probably one of those people who make other people in the church mad. I know I do. I know I make people mad online all the time. So yeah, just John, I hope you're on the line. I hope you can still be with us. If you leave your email address, I'll send you a copy of my book, Why We're Catholic. And I'll pray for you. I hope our listeners pray for you. And something for you to think about, that ultimately what the main point here is: God exists. He loves you. He loves me. He made us. He made every baby in the womb. And he wants all of us to get to heaven and be with him. And I think we can work together towards a goal like that. So,
but I don't necessarily believe that abortion is right. What I was hoping to share is that not necessarily everything that's wrong should be illegal.
Okay. I agree with you on that. Not everything. And in fact, in the history of Catholic theology, Catholic moral theology, many saints have also said the same thing, that if you try to get the state to outlaw everything that's bad, you would live in a nightmarish state. For example, imagine if the state said it's illegal to break a promise. So like, hey, I'll help you move on Saturday, and then you never show up. And then, the state could come and fine you or arrest you for not helping your friend move on Saturday. I mean, that would be just nightmarish. So I agree with you that not everything that's wrong should be illegal, but things that are illegal are wrong. So some things that are wrong got to be illegal. So I guess my question for you, Lindsay, would be, how bad does something have to be before we decide to outlaw it? Like,
You still with us,
continue.
Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm definitely here. And Trent, I disagree. I don't think we're having a conversation. I think I'm sharing a point and you're talking over me. So I'd love to have 6 uninterrupted sentences before you jump in, and I'll give you your airspace. Does that sound fair?
Lindsay, I'm happy for you to
Can we maybe
share
do
your
3?
point of view, and Sai's job is to help continue the conversation so that it's flowing. So what I'll do is I'm going to defer to Sai, and he can decide when either of us, we might need to move on from a point. So feel free to share what you think.
I feel like 6 is
Maybe
high.
just give me a chance to share my point, because I don't really feel like I'm getting a chance to make it.
Go right ahead. Sai,
So,
I'll leave it to you to moderate.
What I did share is that not necessarily everything that is wrong should be considered illegal. And I think as Catholics, we've really done a good job of being pro-birth, but we have not necessarily done a good job of being pro-life. And so by the time a woman is at a place where she's looking to make a decision about whether or not she is going to have an abortion, I think that there are a lot of places where we as a society, we as a church community have failed her. So maybe we have promoted in our homes TV shows that do not promote modesty or promote casual sex. Maybe we've allowed a lot of different things and set a lot of examples and not set a lot of guidelines and boundaries in terms of like how we are raising children and what morals and ethics we're promoting at home. So I think that by the time that a woman gets to a place where she's in a very, very, very difficult decision, she has a difficult decision to make, I think that we could do a much better job at along the way supporting better decisions to be made. And then
that way, hang on. We're at like 9 sentences. I got to let Trent respond. Go ahead, Trent.
Sure, Lindsay. All I have is a question for you. I agree.
That was 9. Seriously.
Sure.
That was
I
9
agree that we can do a lot as a society to help families, to promote healthy families. And that's not mutually exclusive with my goal, which is to make it illegal to directly kill human beings. So would you agree with me that it would be justified to have a law that says you cannot directly kill an innocent human being, no matter how young they are?
I think that once the child is born, once the child is born, then you have the right to make that decision. But when the child is still within the mother's body, I do think that it is her right to make that decision. It should not be illegal.
Okay, Lindsay.
I think we should focus more on prevention.
Lindsay, why does a mother have a right to kill her own child just because the child has not been born yet?
Because she has to live with the outcome of that very, very difficult decision, no matter what it is, and arguably so does the child.
Well, the child doesn't live with it if they get killed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I think that we should do a good job of focusing on the prevention and the supports beforehand. So we are looking at a Catholic community that is pro-life and not just pro-birth.
Well, why? As there's a wonderful taco commercial online with a little girl who says, "Why not both?" My question for you is, why can't we just help people prevent getting into situations where they have children when they're not ready, and make it illegal to kill children?
Because if we have effectively done the first one, we will not have to do the second one.
Okay. Do you think, though, that regardless of the first one, it should just be illegal to kill children because it's monstrous to kill children?
No, because then we are not functioning as a society. We are functioning as judgmental individuals. We're not supporting families as a community. We are placing ourselves in a place of judgment towards a woman who arguably we have not done our fair share in creating a supportive community for which she was to have grown in the first place.
Lindsay, I don't understand your position. So it seems that you're okay judging pro-lifers and saying they have not done enough to help pregnant women, and that it's okay. It seems like it's okay for you to say pro-lifers have failed morally in that they haven't done enough to help pregnant women, but somehow it's judgmental or wrong to say that women shouldn't kill their children. That's what I have a hard time with here, that with born people, you could have a mother in a very difficult situation with a toddler who it may be easier for her to kill her toddler. And yet you and I agree we shouldn't kill that toddler. It seems like to me, you're just arguing the only difference you've picked. We agree she shouldn't be allowed to kill her toddler. It seems like your argument is a mother should be allowed to kill her unborn child. Seems like just because she has the might, though. It's might makes right. She has the power to do that, and it would just be easier for her life to be able to do that. Would you agree it's more civilized? It's more civilized to say we don't kill children no matter how young they are. Do you agree that's the more civilized position?
Yes, but I believe right now we're talking about a fetus.
What is a fetus?
A fetus is a child, but it is within the mother's body.
So, okay, is it okay to kill children?
No.
Okay, so does it matter where a child lives, whether he's in a crib or a bassinet or the womb? Children are valuable no matter where they live, right?
So crib, yes. Bassinet, yes. Womb, no.
Why?
Because not everything that is wrong should be illegal.
Why are you Lindsay, are you saying abortion is wrong?
Do you think rape is wrong?
Yes.
What about poverty?
I believe poverty is a natural evil, but it's not a moral evil. You can't commit the crime of poverty. You can steal from people, but those things are wrong. I think you shouldn't rape or kill people. Yeah.
Right. What about domestic violence? Do you think that's wrong?
I think it's wrong to commit an act of violence against an innocent person. Do you agree it's wrong to commit an act of violence against an innocent person?
Absolutely.
Okay, so domestic violence is wrong, rape is wrong, and abortion would be wrong.
So I'm not arguing whether or not abortion is wrong. I'm arguing whether or not it should be illegal.
Right. Do you think killing innocent people should be illegal?
I think killing innocent people should be illegal.
What is a person?
A person is somebody who is alive. I think that we could say, is a person still a person after they've died?
Would you like me to answer?
What do you think? I think that you have to give me your opinion.
Sure.
I don't think you could give me the truth.
Why do you say that?
Well, because only God knows the truth.
I think only God knows all truths, but you and I can know some truths. So I would say a person is an individual member of a valuable kind. So you have to be alive to be a person, but not. So if you're dead, you're not a person. You're dead. You have to be alive to be a person, but not everything that's alive is a person. Bacteria are alive. They're not people. Slugs are alive. They're not people. You have to be a living member of the human species. And if you are a living member of the human species, you are valuable, you are a person, and you deserve to be protected under the law. And for me, that is true of every member of the human community, no matter how old they are or how young they are, and that would include the unborn. So I just don't see what's inconsistent about that position.
Well, I think that going back to my first point, which is that as a society, if we want to go from what is wrong to what is illegal, then we have to make our global community such that a woman is not going to be in a position to have to make such a terrible choice.
So before we can make it illegal to kill children, we have to change society so people aren't tempted to kill children first?
I thought we were talking about abortion.
Well, are you talking about we are talking about abortion. What is abortion?
So an abortion is when a doctor, by either a surgery or a medication, will support a woman in having a fetus taken from her uterus and expelled.
Okay, well, I don't think that's the correct definition because a doctor helped my two children when they were fetuses come out of my wife's body, and they're still alive and quite well today. So you missed a crucial element of the definition, because every day there are women who are 9 months pregnant who have fetuses removed from their bodies with the help of a doctor. We call that childbirth. What makes abortion different from childbirth is that you intend to kill the fetus or kill the small human being. Abortion is a failure if the fetus lives, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I still go back to my main point, which is as a society, as a Catholic community, as mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and pastors and all of those people who make up our Catholic community, what do we need to do to make it so that no woman is ever in that position where she has to make such a horrible choice? What do we need to do?
Why don't we make it illegal for her to do that and shut down the places, shut down the businesses that are killing these children? Why don't we do that?
Well, that seems like a shortcut.
Lindsay, here's what problem I have with your thinking on this. It is hard for me in this conversation because the proposal you're putting forward, it would be like imagine if it were legal, and it used to be legal for husbands to rape their wives. It was legal. I'm sorry, my mouth's a little bit dry, but here we go. It used to be legal in this country for a husband to rape his wife until like the 1970s. And that's crazy. It used to be legal for a husband to rape his wife. But imagine if people said, well, we can't outlaw marital rape until we give men the psychological resources so they don't make this choice. I would say that's ridiculous. We should make it illegal for men to violate their wives in this way. Much the same way, we should make it illegal for parents to kill their children. Do you agree killing children is wrong? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Killing children is wrong.
Okay, now my next question. Is a fetus a child?
A fetus is inside the mother's womb, and so it is both the child and the mother. It is not a child on its own. It is both of those.
How is a baby its
together.
own? How is a baby its own mother? It has 50% of the mother's DNA, just like you and I have 50% of our mother's DNA.
Because it cannot survive without the environment of the mother's uterus in order for it to sustain life outside of it.
So the mother.
So therefore, you cannot take care of the baby without taking care of the mother. They inter-are.
Okay, so because the child is totally dependent on one person, that person gets to decide whether the baby lives.
Well, arguably, the child is dependent on all of us.
Well, from a biological standpoint, it's dependent on his or her mother. So your position seems to be, it's wrong to kill children, but a fetus is a special kind of child we can kill because they're very needy. Is that your position?
Child. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm just going to leave it right there, and our listeners can decide between our two views. Which do you think is more civilized? My view that all children should be cherished and protected under the law, or Lindsay's view that it's okay to kill some children because they're very needy and we can kill them because they're just needy and helpless. I'll let our listeners decide which view they think is more civilized. So thanks for calling.
Hey, gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm pro-choice because I don't think that it's a person at conception, and I think that I'm in good company. The famous church doctor Aquinas also believed in delayed ensoulment, and he believed it so he advocated for it so strongly that the Catechism of Trent also agreed that Jesus was the only person ever to have a soul at conception. So if it was moral then to believe that, I think it's moral and reasonable to conclude that now.
Did Thomas Aquinas think that abortion was okay?
He thought that it was not a person yet because he thought it didn't have a soul until I think it was 40 days for a male and 80 days for a female.
That's not my question. My question is, did Thomas Aquinas think that abortion was okay or not wrong?
I don't know what he said on abortion. I don't know what he said on contraception. I do know that he said it was not a person.
Okay, well, what I'll say is that in the tradition of church history, in the 2,000-year tradition of church history, abortion has always been condemned, always, by every church father, by every saint, every ecclesial writer, always has been condemned. And for them, it did not matter at what point when the soul entered the body. For example, St. Basil the Great in the 4th century said, "The woman who purposely destroys her unborn child is guilty of murder. With us, there is no nice inquiry as to its being formed or unformed." So it does. So you're putting a moral framework on here that Aquinas and others didn't follow. None of them were ever in favor of abortion, though there were questions about ensoulment. And the church does not have an explicit teaching about when the soul enters the human body. However, that's not the basis for the church's opposition to abortion. The church opposes abortion today by simply saying that we know from scientific inquiry the unborn is a human being, and we shouldn't kill innocent human beings, and that's sufficient. I would say that Thomas Aquinas would agree today that if it could be shown the unborn is a rational, has a body that belongs to a rational species, i.e. that it has a human body with a human rational nature, he would also be opposed to abortion. That Aquinas believed in delayed ensoulment because he believed in delayed animation. He thought that in the womb, you started out as a vegetable body, then an animal body, then you became a rational body later on. But modern biology shows you're a human body through the whole process. So do you think that we should follow modern science and affirm that the unborn from conception on is an individual member of the human species?
No, I don't think so for other reasons besides that. But just when it comes to personhood, I think that Thomas Aquinas is right that it's not yet a person.
Why do you,
depending on gender?
Okay, why do you think Aquinas is right?
I think it's right because it is not yet a sentient being, and it's not what's it called? Viable.
It's not viable. So you think that so would you agree then that the unborn from conception onward is alive and has human DNA?
I would say that it is in possession of human DNA, yes.
Is it growing? Is it alive?
No more alive than the components were before, which were the sperm and the egg.
Okay, so it's alive. It's just as alive as sperm and egg, and it has human DNA. Is it a whole organism that's developing? It's a individual member of a species.
Eventually, it is, but it's in pieces. It's in parts.
Are you in parts?
I am a whole that is made of all of the parts.
Well, why isn't that same?
It is.
Wouldn't that also be true of a human embryo or a human fetus? It contains parts and it's growing and developing like you or I.
Right. So when I was a single cell zygote, I also wasn't a person.
Okay, but there was a human body there. So you're saying that personhood begins when the embryo is sentient?
Yes.
Okay, how do you define sentience?
Some type of rational responses due to external input.
Well, a rational response or just a response. There's a rational response or a physical response. For example, a pigeon feels pain, but it doesn't have rational responses. It has no rational thought, right?
I would think that it has a rational response to feeling pain.
It has the capacity to use reason?
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, you can teach it things. You can learn to avoid things and overcome those things later, so it can override its previous learnings.
So are rats and pigeon persons that have a right to life?
I think they deserve not to be killed for just any reason.
If someone kills a rat because they've infested their home, are they guilty of murder?
They're guilty of killing an innocent entity.
Have they killed?
Entity.
Have they killed
have they killed? Because murder is defined by.
I'm just asking you. Did they kill a person?
No, they didn't kill a person.
I thought you said that having rational. I thought you said having rational responses is what makes you a person.
No, that's one of the criteria. I didn't mean to pigeonhole myself by saying that is the only requirement.
Sure, whatever it is, we'll just talk about rational response and pain. We'll just use sentience as a catch-all word here. You say a person is something that's sentient, but I said if somebody kills a rat, and rats are sentient, they solve mazes. You said they're not killing a person because it's more than just sentience. So along with sentience, what do you need to be a person?
Off the top of my head, I would have to say that you need the ability to live on your own outside of another organism.
Okay, so rats.
Life support would still keep you a person. Okay. And you need all the.
So rats can live on their own without other help. They infest places. So under your definition, rats are still people.
Oh, I was getting there. You can also need human DNA to be human.
Let me stop you right there. Human DNA to be human, but do you need human DNA to be a person?
No. Sorry. Actually, my mind is kind of flipping on that because I can't quite grasp the terms right now. I got stuff on my mind.
Okay.
Human DNA to be a person.
I'm trying.
Yes, I think you do.
Okay. Why?
Because we draw the line at what is ourselves, and we say, I can't breed with that rock. I can't breed with that bird. We must be completely different species.
Right.
So I need similar chromosomes and DNA.
That only shows you what belongs to a species, though. Because, for example, there could be intelligent aliens out there who think just like us that we can't breed with. Would they be persons?
No, they would be different. I guess for the purposes of this argument, they have personhood, but it's hard for me to say that they are persons because I haven't entertained that notion.
Okay, well, here's the thing.
now,
So your definition of a person is, it seems to me, your definition of a person is any human being that's not a fetus.
No, I mean, because I believe like the day before they are a person, the day before they're born, 2 weeks before they're born, they're a person. So I think that there is some arbitrary cutoff.
Why?
Not up to me to set the rules at.
No, but you just did. You said 2 weeks before you said 2 weeks before they're born.
Because they're viable.
Because they can. Okay, then I'll rephrase it. A person for you is any human being that can live outside of a uterus. And here's my definition. A person is any human being. Why is your definition preferable to mine?
Because yours is ambiguous with human being. No, we haven't nailed that down yet.
Here, a human being is an individual member of the species Homo sapiens.
Based on?
Based on what?
Based on DNA, based on respiration, based on heartbeat.
Based on being a functioning organism that has human DNA. Yeah. Any biologist that would
qualify cancer cells. That would qualify HeLa cells.
Cancer cells and HeLa cells are not
qualify.
They're not organisms. Though.
Cells inside my cheek for a limited amount of time.
What is an organism?
An organism is a cell or collection of cells that perform all the necessary mechanics for life.
Mm-hmm.
They consume, they respirate, they turn food into energy, and usually they excrete.
Okay. Do fetuses do that?
Yeah.
So then fetuses are organisms.
Yes, fetuses are organisms.
They're human. Then they're
as much as a sperm and an egg are.
Sperm and egg are not organisms. They're organs. They're sex cells.
All of the cells in your body are organisms.
I would highly recommend that you go check out a biology textbook because by that, if you say every single cell is an organism, then that would mean every organism is made up of millions of other organisms, which is biologically untrue. And I'll just leave it to our listeners to decide whose view is more rational. The idea that every human being should have a right to life and is a person, or just that every human being who can live outside of the uterus can. I think one definition is rational and consistent, and the other is self-serving and biased against the unborn. But I'll leave that to our listeners to decide.
Nate, thank you very, very much for your call. Why are you pro-choice is the question of the hour. If you're a pro-choice person, you're welcome to call 888-318-7884. We go now to David in Alabama. David, why are you pro-choice?